Hi, you're listening to the Flashforward Conference and Film Festival podcast, the largest Flash user conference in the world, sponsored by Adobe Systems and produced by lynda.com, Lynda.com. I'm Lynda Weinman, founder of the conference. If you'd like to learn more about Flashforward, please visit flashforwardconference.com. Listen to the end of the podcast for more information about our upcoming conference in Seattle on February 27th through March 2nd, 2006. In each podcast episode, I will be conducting a phone interview with one of our speakers, sponsors, or film festival finalists. In today's Flashforward podcast, I interview Mike and Matt Chapman, the brothers Chaps, who are the creators of the HomestarRunner.com website. They will be speaking for the first time at the Flashforward Conference and Film Festival on Tuesday, February 28th from 3:45 to 5 p.m. in Room 6B. This is their session description. How and why Homestar Runner cartoons get made. Take a step back in time as Mike and Matt Chapman show how they still use Flash 5 to make the weekly cartoons featured on HomestarRunner.com. Learn the secrets and not-so-secrets of making a 3 to 5 minute cartoon every week. Hear about their 6 years on the web, watch some of their stuff, and learn how they've managed to make a living doing something they like.
Well, it's really great to connect with you both over the telephone. I have Mike and Matt Chapman on the phone with me. Welcome.
Hi, thank you.
Hey, we're really excited to have you at Flashforward. Is this your first speaking gig at a technology conference?
Absolutely.
We're very thrilled to be a part of it, and we still think it's sort of an accident, probably.
Flashforward, since I think I maybe heard of it in 2000, pretty much right when we started using Flash.
I know. I was, looking at your bio and seeing that you started in 2000, and that's when the conference started as well. So we share the same birth date.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Flash 4 was really, I think that's what exploded. Essentially.
Yeah, we got Flash 4 in, I guess, 1999, late 1999.
So had you ever done animation before you got Flash 4?
Yeah, we had done it in lots of other forms. We'd done stop-motion stuff. We'd messed with, just very crude, hand-drawn cell animation. Growing up, we did a lot of that stuff, all very crude and not very advanced.
We would do stop-motion with a video camera where the smallest chunks of time you could get would be about 2 or 3 seconds.
Yeah, you couldn't come anywhere close to frame-by-frame animation.
Well, those roots really show in your work. Even though a lot of people would look at it and say it's crude, I think people who are trained in animation recognize that there is artistry to what you're doing. Absolutely.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
So when we got Flash 4, we were pretty thrilled with how easy it was to manipulate things and to sort of have this library that you can pull from instead of having to redraw every time. So that was very nice. We were pretty psyched.
Yeah, I think Flash started its life as a different product, and it didn't have any interactivity at all. It only had animation and drawing tools. So it was the first program I ever saw that had onion skinning. It was called Smart Sketch.
Onion skinning comes in very handy.
Future Splash?
Future Splash. There you go. That's what it was called. Oops.
I did my homework.
You did what?
I did my homework.
Yes, you did. And your memory is better than mine. So where are you guys based?
We're based in Decatur, Georgia, which is just east of Atlanta.
And this is a family affair even that extends beyond you two brothers, correct?
Yes, pretty much everyone, our sister, and dad, and mom, and in-laws, everybody helps out whenever they get a chance. Us two and our sister are full-time employees. And everyone else pitches in when something needs to be done. I'm
sure you're all quite amazed by the success of this. Do you want to talk a little about that? Were your parents always supportive of this sort of your drawing and animation experiments and things like that?
Yeah, Mike and I, we always say that we had the sort of curse of having the parents that were too interested and too supportive of everything you were doing. And our dad and mom would drive 4 hours to see my crappy band play in college in the smoky bar and stuff like that. And I was like, I kind of don't want you guys to be at the crappy club. I can't swear on stage then.
I won't be able to drink beers.
Yeah, but obviously it was wonderful, and so it was really very cool. Our dad's a retired accountant, and so Mike and I started tinkering around with Flash. And when we got the website up and had a lot of stuff going, he was kind of encouraged us to maybe try and sell some T-shirts or whatever. And he's definitely our biggest fan and has always supported us in all of our creative endeavors. I think that's part of his thing. He was definitely always wanted to be a writer and ended up being an accountant. And so I think sort of through, he was sort of getting his creative Jones out through his sons, which we're totally cool with. So
that's really neat. So you have a musical background as well as writing and drawing.
Yeah. Our musical background is just as mediocre as all of our art and other backgrounds. We're in both in just sort of college rock bands, not technically. What do you call it?
Trained. Technically trained.
Well, I think in some ways the mediocrity is the charm. I mean, I think because it makes it sort of people can identify with just the sort of pure creative spirit that's coming out of Homestar Runner, and the stories and the characters and the humor, I think, are really approachable to most people.
We hope so.
Technically proficient, that's what I was trying to think of.
Technically proficient?
Yeah, proficient, that's a hard word for me to come up with.
So speaking of technically proficient, what version of Flash are you guys using right now?
Proudly using Flash 5.
Yes, and have been since 2001 or whenever it came out.
Wow. Is there a reason why you have not upgraded?
There's several reasons, and we'll let everyone know at the Flashforward conference what they are.
Okay.
Lots of little small things. We actually publish everything in Flash 7 still. I mean, we'll get Flash 8, but just because the compression is so much better and the file size is generally about 30% smaller.
Mm-hmm.
So that's always good. But there's lots of little minor things like the color selection and
frame selection.
Yeah.
And syncing.
Yeah, see, not only do we use Flash 5, but we use the Flash 4 timeline keyframing style.
Yeah, we set it, there's that setting you can set it to Flash 4 or frame selection, I think, and we still use that, actually. So.
I'm kind of with you. I really preferred the way that it used to work, and I set mine back, too.
Yeah. It's, I don't know, there's just something streamlined. And it's the sort of thing where we probably, if we just worked it for, 2 weeks and just forced ourselves to use Flash 8, we would be fine. But, I don't know, it's one of those old habits die hard situations, I guess. But there's a couple things with syncing up dialogue that seems like it's way easier, and we haven't actually been able to duplicate a couple of the things we've tried, like to go in and, because the newer Flashes are pretty customizable, and we actually had our programmer guy, Jonathan, went in and tried to make all these weird, like, presets and keyboard shortcuts to try and mimic everything that we do in Flash 5 in 7, and even that was still, we'd have to do, several little keyboard shortcuts just to do something that you can do with, one click in Flash 5. So we keep wanting someone to prove us wrong and to give us a copy of, a new Flash that works exactly the way we want it to, but nobody's been able to do it. So,
I bet that could be arranged.
Yeah, exactly.
I think you're going to be coming to the source by coming to Flashforward here.
Right.
So you also use a lot of sound, and I'm curious, what platform you guys use to author your materials and what kinds of sound apps you use and things like that.
We use, I guess, Adobe Audition now.
Used to be Cool Edit.
Cool Edit Pro. And so we just use a mobile preamp, USB preamp, to plug the mics in, and then just record it all in Audition and clean it up in there.
We have a little sound room here at the office. It used to just be me sitting in front. We always had a decent microphone just because, from recording our own home music stuff, we had at least a decent microphone and like a 4-track and stuff. And so, but it was still just me sitting at the computer, and you can hear Mike doing the dishes in the background and lots of room noise and stuff like that. But now,
right.
A little sound room that's fairly soundproof, or at least soundproof enough.
Yeah, I think the audio sounds great on your site.
Thanks. If you should go watch some of the early emails, and
headphones.
you'll really appreciate it. Yeah, especially with headphones, you'll really appreciate how much
trucks going by,
right,
barking and stuff.
But I still maintain that adds to the charm here. I mean, I really think that part of what is the appeal is that people can relate to this sort of crudely drawn stuff, and I love how you intermix sort of a lot of just visual metaphors of old black and white footage and funny video games, and it's such a collage of different styles and influences. It's really neat.
Thanks. We always feel like it's fortunate that we can kind of just put whatever we want on the site. It's a nice sort of catch-all in terms of any creative idea we can come up with. We can probably cram it into the Homestar Runner universe in some way, be it a hair metal band, or like you're saying, some old crappy Atari game, or any of that stuff just can somehow get in there, which is cool, as opposed to if we had set out to make it just be some sci-fi cartoon or something where you're kind of pigeonholed into a genre. So it's nice that way.
Yeah, and I love the video stuff that you have on there too with the sock puppets. And if you're not using more current versions of Flash, how are you dealing with the video? I'm just curious.
We do all that. That's what we use. We're still, like Mike said, we're still using MX04 Professional for the video stuff.
Mm-hmm.
We haven't gotten to 8 yet, but yeah. So we do all that. We got the Sorensen Squeeze, a little app that you can that compresses the video even better. So we shoot the stuff and then usually just export it out of Final Cut as a uncompressed AVI. We found we get the best results when it's what you put into Sorensen is completely uncompressed, and so it ends up looking better. But we obviously are still making. We try and keep them around a meg, so these minute-long or 2-minute-long things are around a meg and a half, and they're just tiny and still fairly crappy-looking video, unfortunately. But we just don't want to mess with bandwidth, just because all the other content on our site is so much smaller than that for the most part.
Well, it's really appreciated, and I also think it's really neat that you don't have advertising. I'm sure your site is popular enough to where you could make a lot of money with advertising. What has
People
prompted?
tell us that all the time.
Oh, I'm certain of it.
I believe that banner ads can work.
Well, I don't have them on our sites either.
That's not why we don't do it.
No.
We made that decision very early on. It's just to not be interrupted and to be, without links and other things bothering you when you're sort of at home star runner. I don't know. We want your full attention, and I think people appreciate even though I think for the most part people can block out banner ads. Everyone's used to going to sites with 1 million pop-up ads and banner ads and stuff, and it's, you can get past it pretty easily, but people definitely appreciate them not being there.
Yeah, we still hear that, which is good. It was nice that people, recognize that pretty quickly, and
also aesthetically, it's something that it was a decision to just have this clean. We've got the kind of large black border, and we put everything in this little window, and I think it's just more aesthetically pleasing.
Yeah. I totally agree with you. I think it's a luxury that, from what I've read about you, you're supporting yourselves through selling merchandise. Is that correct?
And again, we're lucky to be able to make the decision based on that, and we don't need the, whatever revenue banner ads would bring in.
Yeah, I kind of have the same philosophy in my sites because we have different, we have our ways of making money. Flashforward sells tickets, and that's how we survive, and Lynda.com has its own way, and so I suppose we could all be extra greedy and get the ad money too, but if it's already working and it's a really nice, experience for your end user, to me it's well worth it to keep the cost.
Yeah, advertising is a necessary evil, but if it's not necessary, then it's just evil.
Then it's too evil, definitely. So have you been offered any other kinds of projects? I'm sure your site has caught the attention of some network execs now and again. Has anything tempted you to get outside the web space?
Nothing. We would have done it probably by now. We've definitely left as many of those doors open as possible when we hear from people at networks and studios and stuff. But so far, just nothing. We're like I said, we're still having so much fun, and it's fulfilling us creatively at this point where we haven't, gone off and done other things. So we've gotten to do a couple of music videos for bands that we liked, which is cool.
I know. I saw the They Might Be Giants one.
Yeah, we got to do that, and we got to do a video for a band called the Folk Implosion that we were big fans of, and so that's been really cool. And we have lots of friends in bands, and so we've messed around with doing videos for them or wanted to do that same sort of thing, and that's fun. That seems like something we can kind of do enough. It's not as time-consuming as
just little small projects that you can do for a month, and then
as opposed to like writing a feature or starting some other cartoon on a network or something like that.
Right.
At this point, I don't know. It's hard. It's a hard sell for those.
Sure.
People, because it's like, okay, my brother and I screwing around in our crappy little office by the bowling alley, and doing whatever we want on whatever time schedule we want.
Or watching WrestleMania 3 this morning.
Yeah, Mike wrote in WrestleMania 3, an old tape from 1985 that we found at our parents' house. So that's what we were doing today, and as opposed to, okay, we need, 22 episodes of the Strong Bad cartoon by such and such a date, and this producer's going to give you notes and make sure to plug this advertisement, and I don't know, it just seems like there's no contest.
Yeah, I can see the I can see the trade-off there.
But so at the same time, though, there could be a point where we're ready to, where we're ready to do something like that, and if you approach it from that aspect, then it's fine. It's just as opposed to doing, knowing that you're getting into that, I think we would be okay. But at this point, like changing Homestar Runner to be something like that would definitely suck.
Yeah, and I think a really strong dimension of Homestar Runner is the interactivity that we haven't talked about too much. But you do have a lot of Easter eggs and ways that your audience interacts with your work. So how important is that, to what you're building here?
That's always been a huge part. I mean, it was definitely something from the beginning that we wanted to sort of reward the repeat viewer and the curious viewer, with these little secrets and stuff. And it was really cool to hear after, the site had been up for several years, and we met some people that were fans of the site, and they had no idea that there were these Easter eggs. And so we were already on to like Strong Bad email number 70 or something, and they were like, "Are you telling me that like all 70 of those Strong Bad emails have hidden stuff that I've never seen?" And we were like, "Oh, not all of them, but most of them." And
wow,
that was really cool to see that there are people that like it, because it's funny because there's definitely people that's part of the biggest part of the draw for them, is that they like this hidden stuff. And so it's funny if we don't do as many Easter eggs in a cartoon, we'll
barely hidden anymore.
Yeah, it's kind of
just hiding them more just because it's so expected that it's like, oh, there's only one Easter egg this time.
Oh wow.
But,
go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say that. So that's plus the just the fact that Strong Bad emails are from real fans, and so we there is that direct connection with Strong Bad picks an email, and it's it's some kid's email or person's email, and he puts it on the site. So I think that's pretty cool too.
I totally agree, and it seems like that was maybe, well, I could be wrong, but was that more the genesis for a lot of the early cartoons, and is it still? I mean, where do you find your inspiration besides the emails? The emails are great fodder, and you've done a wonderful job with them, but I'm curious if your creative process has changed at all, if you find influences from, places that you never thought you would and things like that.
I just got inspiration from whatever crappy TV reruns we were watching, or bad Nintendo game, or, something that some kid in third grade said 20 years ago that we still repeat over and over again.
Or the guy at the diner that's now demolished that had half a mustache.
Yeah, we used that. We went to this really depressing lunch. This diner was terrible, but our waiter had a half a mustache, and it was such a bad lunch that I was determined to get something out of the lunch, so we wrote this person with half a mustache into one cartoon.
Well, it's
our inspiration from people with weird facial hair.
Well, I think a lot of people do struggle with, how do we get ideas? So it's really great to hear, that you just look everywhere and
they're all around you.
Well, it's definitely hard. I mean, there's definitely times when we're struggling for an idea, and it's hard to force it. Sometimes when you force it, it works. By doing the Strong Bad emails every week, we sort of gave ourselves this deadline, and there were lots of times where that affects the writing process. The fact that we've got to get this up in 6 more hours, whereas if we were just doing it leisurely, I think the product would end up being different. And I think sometimes that works for you, and I think sometimes that can work against you, obviously. But
absolutely. Well, one of the things that we like to do at Flashforward is inspire everybody, and part of what I think probably the most inspirational thing of all is the film festival. And I've had many people tell me after being at the film festival that they left the conference and kind of created something that they didn't think they would have created had they not seen it. So I'm looking forward to your session inspiring a lot of people, and I realize that you're not going to teach anybody how to do animation or action script, but I don't really think that's the role of having people like yourselves. What you're doing is so successful and effective and compelling, and you have so many fans. I mean, I live in a town of 8,000 people, and I see people walking around with your T-shirts on, which to me is a sign of something. And obviously, you could have never expected to have done this since the internet was so new in 2000, and not very many people have achieved what you guys have achieved.
Yeah, it was pretty cool to see. I mean, not in a negative way, but that we've sort of outlasted some of the other sites. I mean, there's usually a lot of them are still up, like Flash cartoon sites that were popular back when we first started. They're still up, but they're not putting up new. They haven't been putting up new content forever, and or they went to subscription service or things like that. And the fact that it's 6 years later and we're still just doing the same thing, and just giving it to people for free if they want to see it, and maybe they'll buy a shirt, maybe they won't. I don't know. It's a source of pride for me anyway, for sure.
As it should be.
We go back to like icebox.com, and what are some of the other ones? I forget. There's some old ones that were, the big heavy hitters back in the day that we'll go back sometimes to look at and be like, wow, remember that? We're older than them now. That's pretty cool.
Right. Well, you should be proud, and we're actually also really proud that you're coming to Flashforward, and I know lots and lots of people are excited to see you. So in advance, I want to thank you for agreeing to come, and we're just...
You look like the Lynda.com logo.
Well, my husband gets upset with me. He drew it because occasionally I'll change glasses or cut my hair. The logo's, 10 years old, so I remember the first time I changed my hairdo, he was like, well, you don't look like your logo anymore. But I actually do probably look like my logo. I mean, I wear glasses, and
that's what I'm envisioning right now.
Yeah, I have the glasses part, and my hair is probably a little shorter than that logo right now. And I've aged 10 years, so.
Well, thanks so much for inviting us. We're very excited.
Oh, well, the feeling is mutual.
Seattle before.
Yeah, Seattle's a great city. A lot of people haven't been there before, and it's one of the reasons why I wanted to have it in Seattle. I'm just of the belief that the whole conference experience should be stimulating, and we've had a history of going back and forth to the same two locations for a long time, so I'm hoping that, getting people out to a new city is going to, just add to the inspiration and stimulation of learning new things and doing something new. So we cannot wait to have you. And
we're excited.
Yeah, well, thank you for being part of the podcast.
No problem.
And we'll see you in Seattle.
Fantastic.
Great.
Thanks.
Thanks, Lynda.
The Flashforward Conference and Film Festival brings together the best minds in the Flash design and development community in a 4-day conference and international film festival. With the release of Flash 8 and the new focus on Flash as a platform, Flashforward offers knowledge and inspiration for everyone in the Flash community, whatever role Flash plays in your life and work. Join us and over 1,000 Flash designers and developers in Seattle this February. If you'd like a discount to the conference, please enter the code PODSEA3 when you register. We hope to see you in Seattle. It's going to be an outstanding show. For more information, visit www.flashforwardconference.com. Flashforward is produced by lynda.com, Lynda.com, home of the Online Training Library, an online training resource that has hundreds of hours of Flash training and other training in the digital arts. Thanks for listening to the podcast, and we hope to see you in Seattle.